That's okay. Hello, and if you're just tuning into the VOD, welcome. My name is Ryzol, and today I'm doing my 4th day of my lessons. So today for this lesson we're going to have Ryzo, Ryz. Wait, Ryzol, Ryzo, Ryzer. I don't know. I'm just going to call him Ryzol. Playing Sivir bot lane. This is a normal game. And he is unranked, so I don't know what like elo or general level this is, but now if you're just tuning in, you may have seen my post on Reddit, and I have exciting news. I have now launched my website, and that website is rockalakalili.com. Let's see. Let me just change my title here. Okay. So I got the title going on the stream now. On the little banner in the top right. Let me close out a mumble to get rid of that overlay, because it's kind of annoying. Okay, so yeah, so I have exciting news. My website is launched. It is www.rockalakalili.com. You guys should check it out. I decided that if I'm going to keep doing these lessons, which I plan to because I've gotten great feedback and people seem to be enjoying them, that I needed a better way to organize the lessons and kind of keep them together, keep a yeah, just kind of an organized way to keep them together, an easy place for you guys to get news and keep up with what's going on. So, but to the replay, so it looks like you're trying to get your team to invade in a level 1. If we look at the level 1 teams, that's probably not a horrible idea. Alistar is so strong level 1, because if he can get a pulverize on like multiple people, that's huge. You also have Lux with a bind, and who landed a good bind. So yeah, good job. You guys got first blood. So one thing that you guys could do here also, since you just got first blood, you don't have to back. You could have stolen his red, and it looks like someone pinged that. And you could have just stolen his red since you were all there, and you just waited like the 18 more seconds for it to spawn. That would not have been a problem. But it's also good that you backed since you got the first blood, so now you can start boots and 2 potions plus Adorans, which gives you a pretty big advantage over Vayne. So Ali just took a lot of damage for no reason, and that was probably bad of him. Like, there's no reason to take that damage. So when you're playing against the Soraka lane, you want to keep in mind the cooldown on her heal. Like right now her heal's on cooldown, so you guys should play aggressive. And like that was a mistake by the Vayne, because Vayne should have known that Soraka's heal was on cooldown, so she should not have played so aggressive there. So the thing to remember with Soraka's heal is the heal is nice and all, but what really makes it amazing is the huge armor buff. So it's really useful to use like while you're fighting, to use it so it heals, and then while you fight with the armor buff. This swirly yellow stuff that was around main there, that's that armor buff. So like that's why it was a mistake for Vayne to fight there, because she didn't have the armor buff to work with. That's okay. And Ali, like if you're playing Alistar, don't just walk up and melee people like that. Like he's taking so much damage for no reason, and it's a mistake to do that. That was pretty risky because you're both low HP. Like if that Vayne tumbled or condemned either one of you into that wall, you would have died. You guys are both too low HP, so. Okay, so Ali misses flash. That's pretty bad. That probably would have been a dead Vayne if he hit that flash, but. And always remember, like with the Soraka lane, if you're gonna trade, you need to come out like really far ahead on that trade to make it worth it against Soraka. while they were landing that alley, you probably could have landed a Q on both of them. So let me talk a little bit about landing skill shots. So Sivir skill shot is kind of weird because it doesn't get blocked by creeps. But against like a good opponent, you're very rarely gonna hit a skill shot if you're both like standing there and they expect it. That you're not really ever gonna hit a skill shot on someone like that. So that means is that when you're trying to hit skill shots, you need to make two things happen. You need to either make it so they don't expect it. So that's like by vision, so like throwing it out of a brush where they can't see you, or like if they're pushed down here, you can stand up here and throw your skill shot over that wall, stuff like that. Okay, so that right there, you guys have to be really careful. Like, that was a big mistake by you. You should never, like, there was no reason to be by this wall. Like, none at all. When you're playing against Vayne, don't ever be by walls. It's like, there's zero reason to be right here. And so that was definitely a mistake by you. And so that mistake is going to cost you a lot of farming experience, since you have to back while you're at your turret. So if you're pushed up to your turret, it's always a big mistake to recall if you can avoid it. Because you just missed experience for, I think it was like 5 range minions and 3 or 4 melee. And that's going to hurt. You're going to be behind now. So when you're playing against a Vayne, don't ever like stand by walls if you don't have to. So, the advantage you had in lane by having those boots, since you had first blood over Vayne, you guys lost by just taking too much free damage. Like, this alley took a lot of free damage, but so did you. You weren't trading very well with this Vayne. And I think a lot of that comes from you missed a lot of Qs. And if you're going to play Sivir, you got to land your Qs in lane. They do so much damage, it's crazy. You're also not last hitting very well at all. 25 CS at 7 minutes is pretty poor, so work on that. But Vayne is doing about the same, so you should have more though. Like if you just look at your team, like Lux is at 44, at least Sin's at 45. You should be up there right with them. I don't think it's been that aggressive of a lane where you're missing them because you guys are fighting so much. I think you're just more missing them. So just work on your CS always. A great way to practice CS is go into a custom game with like no bots, or you can have bots if you really want to, but it's not important. And so go into a custom game, no bots, don't level any skills or buy any items, and just go on your favorite champion and go with your favorite champion and just try to get 100 CS and see how long it takes you. And then once you get 100 CS, just quit and start over. So here you're talking to your ally, you're trying to get him to do his combo. It sounds like he doesn't know his combo because he says I also need the right angle, which is false. Yeah, so with Ally Star, for if you're a viewer and you don't know, you can W to use your headbutt and immediately Q, and you do the damage on your W and also Q them immediately. So just a little thing like in that trade, Vayne's sitting there attacking the alley, and you're like over here because you're too afraid. But you should have just been right-clicking that Vayne, and you guys would have come out ahead on that trade. And this is like one of the hardest parts about AD carry, is you always need to constantly reassess when it's safe to auto-attack and when it isn't. Like, it was safe for you to auto-attack there because Ally was getting hit, but you weren't doing it. So when you're playing AD carry, you always need to constantly be, like, evaluating, okay, am I safe to right-click right here? Am I safe to right-click? You guys also need to play a little passively because we don't know where Maokai is, and you have no wards up. And Maokai ganks are very painful. So you're not ulting. You should have ulted earlier. If you ulted earlier here, you probably could have just fought and forced them off by just fighting, because your right clicks are going to do a lot of damage with your attack speed buff. And Ali probably wouldn't have had to flash either. It's really bad when Alistar has to flash to get away, because an Alistar using his flash aggressively is so strong. But You definitely should have ulted earlier to try to save that alley. So just some things I'm noticing. Your last hitting has gotten a little better since I said it, but you're still like 4 CS behind Vayne and still like 20 CS behind your Lux. So just work on the last hitting still and land those Qs. Sivir's laning is really dependent on landing those Qs for harass. Her auto attack range is still pretty short, so it's hard for her to auto attack successfully. I also don't think you need to be so afraid that you're forced to last hit with your Q. Like, I don't think there's any reason to do that. This Vayne isn't that far ahead of you. Like, she hasn't even bought. All she has is a single Doran's. But you're Doran's and Boots ahead of her, and you're getting zoned out to the point where you have to Q to last hit. And I think that's a big mistake. Like, you shouldn't be that afraid. Vayne is really not going to do all that much damage if you avoid her Condemn in lane. Excuse me while I eat my banana. But, yeah, I mean, really, like, if you guys avoid getting stunned by Vayne, she's really not going to do that much damage. And, like, right there, you could have easily gotten those last hits with right clicks instead of using your mana to Q that. So good job reacting to the gank. I don't think you guys should bait this. You're out of mana. Oh, she's gone. Oh, this alley. So, alright. One thing, if you guys ever play Alistar, learn your combo. Learn how to use your headbutt pulverize combo to where it works like a mini Malphite ult. You headbutt and immediately Q, so as soon as the damage of your headbutt goes off, you knock them back like maybe an inch and then immediately headbutt them. So this Vayne still hasn't gone back. You should be super aggressive. Like, all she has is a Doran's. You have an extra Doran's and Boots on her. You should be more aggressive on her than you guys are. But another thing with Ali, you saw how he ulted before he went in that bush? That's like a really bad mistake because, and this is something some people don't know about Alistar's ult. His ult removes all CC from you. It's like a Gangplank Oranges. So there, you should have just kept auto-attacking. Like, as soon as Soraka healed Vayne, you should have started auto-attacking Soraka. You guys could have gotten a lot of damage because they're running away and therefore not doing any damage to you. You could have gotten a lot of free damage on them. And that's the thing, like, if you're just harassing to deal a little bit of damage in lane, try to switch targets when Soraka uses her armor buff. So, like, if she uses her armor buff on Vayne, try to switch targets and hit Soraka, because she doesn't have that armor buff on her. Another thing, when you're playing support, just go back to base if your AD goes back to base, because you can't lane 2v1, especially as the support. Like, this alley just had to flash, because they're like, oh hey, Sivir's gone, let's just go attack him. And this Vayne still has not bought. Okay, so if I were you right now, don't let this Vayne recall right here. You have a massive advantage. You have 2 Dorans and a BF sword, and you had sight on her. You saw she was backing. Don't let her do that. You can probably 1v2 them. If you don't get Vayne stunned, you could 1v2 them, no problem, and just force that Vayne not to recall. Because that's a huge advantage for you. The fact that you've bought in like 3 times and she hasn't bought any time. If you forced her to stay in lane, you could have zoned her out. Or at least stalled her long enough to where you could have pushed your turret to the tower so she missed the most. Yeah, so now she comes back with Boots 2 and BF. So that's going to be a problem for you guys since she's playing really aggressively. Since she has Boots advantage, she's going to be able to do that. So you have to watch that. Like, you should right click that Soraka right there. the Vayne was really far behind her, so you weren't in danger of getting hit by the Vayne. And you definitely should have been hitting the Soraka. So right click. Like Ali's taking turret. You don't need to be afraid there. So one thing I'm noticing with your AD carry play is you just need to work on realizing when it's safe for you to right click people and when it's not. Alright, so good use of your spell shield to spell shield Morgana's ult. It was kind of silly of her to use it on you, but that works. It was really silly of Vayne to come through there. And I talked about this in one of my earlier lessons. Coming through right here is extremely dangerous if the enemy is paying attention in their lane. Like, it's extremely dangerous. If the enemy is like right here, and you come through this way in lane, you're gonna fight them if they want. Like, it's a free initiate for them if they want to. So always watch that. It's very dangerous. So, you guys just straight up lost that 4v4, and it's because of a dive. Like, generally it's a poor idea to dive if you don't know where their jungle is. Like, if you haven't seen their jungle lately, and if you don't know where their mid is, don't dive, because you just always need to assume that they're right there. So I think on that last trip back you should have gotten boots too, because Vayne has boots too. And yeah, Sivir's passive will give you 50 move speed, but it's still, you'll still be 5 move speed behind Vayne when she's running towards you, so you won't be able to run away from her. So I guess with Sivir's passive you don't really need that, but it still might be nice. Okay, so right click this Vayne. This is another thing I'm talking about. Vayne is tunnel visioning on that alley. She's not going to attack you, so you need to attack her and try to force her off of your Alistar. So the biggest thing I'm seeing with your play is you need to realize when you're playing an AD carry when it's safe for you to right click and when you can't. There's been a lot of times where the enemy team's attacking someone else. Either they're attacking Alistar or they're running away or something like that, and you're not right clicking when you need to be. Like, go right click on this Vayne right now. She's going on this Alistar. You need to just be attacking her. Volibear should have kept going since Lux TP'd, but that's okay. Okay, so here's another thing. Mid's missing. Okay, mid's still there, so that's good. But we don't know where Maokai is. I haven't been paying attention to minimap, so I don't know if we've seen him recently. But if you haven't seen your hit the jungle recently, you gotta assume Maokai's right here, since you don't have strong vision. Okay, so Alistar uses ult really well to tank that turret. That's a good use of Ali ult to tank turrets like that. So you should probably just be ulting and to put a lot of pressure and try to take this turret. I don't think you've ulted yet as Sivir, and this is another thing I've talked about in my lessons. Like, your skills are there to use them. Don't be afraid to use them. You could have gotten like another right click on that Maokai. As far as your play, I don't know if you play a lot of AD carry or if you play a lot of like AP or something, but you seem to be using your skills a lot more than your right clicks, and you need to change your mindset when you're playing AD carry. Your right clicks are what's important. Your skills are not. Alright, so Vayne is Bloodthirster already. You guys are about even on CS. You guys are about even in gold. So the difference is she only has the 1 Dorans.
An enemy has been slain.
She has an extra kill. So she has an extra kill and didn't buy Doran, so that's why she has her Bloodthirster. Which, I mean, whatever. Like, she already has a lot of sustain with Soraka, so like, having her Bloodthirster isn't that big of a deal. She'll get to charge it up earlier, but it's a lot worse if like it was Vayne Jaina and she got her Bloodthirster, because now she has a lot of sustain. But this ally is just keeps taking way too much damage. Like, he shouldn't be getting hit unless he's gonna go in on this Vayne. But ally actually provides a lot of sustain. Oh, there's a... Okay, so that was really slow reaction on you. Really slow reaction. So that ally went in, W'd and Q'd, and that was great. That was a really good initiate. And you just kept running, even after he went in and stunned. And by the time you turned back, Vayne was already out of the stun and running away. So you need to react faster to that. And that's another thing, like Vayne's attacking Alistar, don't be afraid to hit her. Good to use the spell shield. Alright, there we go, you ulted. Yay! So good ulti. Keep on this Vayne though. Alright, that's alright. Morgana and Maokai are coming. So here's another turret dive where mid and their jungler are gonna come in. So you guys gotta watch that. Oh, I can't believe that didn't hit. So this one thing, note, you can't spell shield the second part of Morgana's ultimate. If you don't spell shield the first part, don't use it, because it's not going to have any effect on the second part. Your cleanse could have, though, but that's alright. So yeah, once again, just don't dive if you don't know where their jungle and their mid lane is. Like, your mid lane was up here. Your mid lane was down here, so you gotta assume their mid lane's gonna follow. And you don't know where their jungle is, so always assume. So right there, you could have queued the minion wave, like QW the minion wave would have cleared it, and then you wouldn't have lost your turret here. Instead, you opted for the harass on Morgana for no reason, so. And you shouldn't have gotten hit by that binding, you had spell shield up. And you could have juked it, but you had cleanse, so cleanse was able to save you from that mistake, but that's okay. So the big things I'm noticing you play is work on your CSing. It's 24 minutes, and 140 CS is a little low. Just in this game, I mean, you see Lee Sin at 173. And so you see people that are a lot higher. So you should be at least up that high. And then work on like how you're right clicking in lane. You're too hesitant. Like, you need to focus and realize when it's safe for you to right click. Like right there, I don't know if you weren't paying attention, but you just ran into 4 of them and didn't right click at all. So you were there in that fight for a good like 5 seconds without right clicking on anyone. So you don't need to run away right there. No, people are just ignoring you. You're free to right click, but you're still acting really scared. You're like attacking once and running away, and attacking once and running away. But it was Soraka and 2 melee champions. Maokai used his gap closer. Nasus uses Wither already, and so you were in just no danger at all of getting hit, and you were still being really scared and like attacking, running away, and you were losing some DPS because of it. So just really pay attention to like when is it safe for me to auto attack. Okay, looks like you're going Infinity Edge. I like Bloodthirster a lot more on Sivir. The thing with Infinity Edge is, like, crit is not going to scale with your Q or your W. And so I like Bloodthirster because the extra attack damage keeps your, like, W and Q scaling. And this is especially true for old Sivir. But even with new Sivir, like, your Ricochet is going to do more damage on each bounce for the attack damage you have. It's not going to crit on extra bounces, so... That's just in general why I say that I like Bloodthirster more than Edge on Sivir. At least Sin is dumb. Or sorry, he's not dumb. It was just a dumb play. Like, you guys should have been with him. And yeah. And so there I was talking about how you can't spell shield the second part of Morgana's stun. So, one thing I want to know is, like, do you want to look at your teams and decide, like, do we have a good 5v5 team fight? Like, if you look at their team, Morgana, big AoE damage. Maokai has that big AoE ult that makes fighting in small quarters very effective. Nasus has his big AoE MR armor reducing. So all those right there make them very effective at fighting in tight spots like the jungle. So, and if you look at your team, like Lux is really good at fighting in tight spots like that. Volibear does decent AoE, like Sivir does decent AoE, but I don't think it's as strong as theirs is. Like, their Morgana got her stun off on, like, her ult off on, like, all 5 of you, and that was really, really strong. So, like, I think you guys are honestly a bit even when it comes to fighting, like, in the jungle or in tight corridors. But in general, you guys need to be, like, it's something to consider. You want to look at the team comps and decide, like, okay, where do I want to fight? Like, some champions that are really great at fighting in the jungle, like, in tight corridors like this, or, like, right here, are champions like Rumble and Kennen, like, because their AoE ults are just really effective if you fight in a corridor like this. Karthus is really good too. Just champions like that with strong AoE are really good, and if you have champions like that on your team, you want to try to force fights in here. But I think you guys are about even in terms of AoE fighting, but you just need to watch how you initiate. Like, that was bad. Like, Lee Sin got caught, and then you all went in after that. So in the mid game right now, as an AD carry, you really just want to keep farming. So look for where the big waves are that you can farm, and go get them. Clear the jungle whenever you can. I don't know why your team's fighting this. Your team just wants to fight, which is fine. But in general, like, only fight for a reason, especially when you've lost the last few team fights. But you're actually having a really good fight because you guys picked off the Vayne. Okay, so I said this before, but you're losing so much damage because you're too afraid to right click. I think you threw 3 right clicks in that whole fight, and you are getting 100% ignored. No one was hitting you, but you only threw 3 right clicks. So the biggest thing I'm noticing in your play is that you really need to work on when is it safe for me to right click. And that's the hardest part of playing AD carry. Like, you ran into melee range, you got way too close to everyone, and then you were so scared because you're so close to everyone. So you started running up, and you threw like 1 auto attack and ran away. I don't think you guys needed to surrender. This is a very early surrender. Like, you guys have lost the last couple team fights, but it's not over at all. Like, that's anyone's game still. I don't think you guys needed to surrender there. You just had a couple bad team fights, but that's okay. So the biggest thing that you need to work on as an AD carry, both in lane and in team fights, is just right-clicking more. As an AD carry, right-clicking is all of your damage. If you're not right-clicking, you're not going to do damage. So work on, like, recognizing when you're safe to sit there and right-click, and just sit there and right-click. Don't run away if you don't have to, because you're going to lose a lot of damage. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and stop